To have you joining me tonight. This is the webinar just for me to explain the Gaia program. So again, thank you very much for joining. We have people from all around the world coming on, listening to this webinar. And if you happen to be listening to the replay, welcome as well. I know we've got some very strange time zones for people. So if you are listening live, there will be a replay link sent out 24 hours from when we finish, so you'll be able to do that, watch it again or forward on to someone. So for those that I've not met before, my name's Ian White, and warm welcome to people I've worked with before. I know there's a number of you who have done the ISIS as well as the Soul Logos programs in the past with me. So the Gaia Essence is the third of the spiritual presence, the divine presence essences. And they've roughly been coming about a year apart. This one was created in June, and I will be talking a little bit more about the qualities of the essence. And I'd just like to summarize it by saying, in a way, it's a fantastic booster to the Soul Logos. They work hand in hand. In fact, one of the qualities of the Gaia essence is it's very much a union essence. It's the union between heaven and earth, because heaven is represented by both the Isis and the Solar Logos essences. We have the Solar Logos energies, we have Isis herself. That's that heavenly aspect. Well, Earth is obviously the Gaia. Gaia is another name for the Gaia essence. Gaia is another name for Earth. And just before we started, I was talking to one of our support team, one of the organisers, Amika, and she was saying, I can feel the spiritual energy very prominent, very big here. My heart's wide open. And it doesn't usually happen to me at a workshop or a webinar, but my heart was pounding too. I think there are some very, very powerful, strong energies with us. And certainly when we think of what we're dealing with, I mean, Mother Earth, we're working with the Christ consciousness going out through the cosmos sent from the central sun, the heart of the divine, coming down to activate those pulsations, activating the earth. And we're of the earth, we're made of the earth. We live on Mother Earth. And she's raising her consciousness as a result of all the Soul Logos rays, and she's elevating. And she wants us to be part of that journey. We're her guests. We're made of her. She is the embodiment of all the elements in the earth, but also those elements are within us as well. And at this point in time, those solar rays, Soul Logos rays, spreading through the whole universe are there to raise consciousness. It's to open our hearts, allow in more of the love and the light. And Gaia is saying, look, I'm raising up. I want you to be part of that journey. Come along with me. So, like when we think of this essence, what it's doing, balancing that heaven and earth, it's also really working to bring in our higher self, ground our consciousness. And the Gaia is really allowing us to be more anchored in earth so we can take in all that powerful energy of the Solar Logos. And, Solar Logos is an incredibly powerful remedy. We had a lot of people having very strong reactions when we did the program. And that's part of the reason when we're launching these new essences, the Gaia, Isis, Solar Logos, that we just don't start, oh, here they are, go off and have fun with them, see what happens. But we really thought we want to create a structure where there's a lot of support. I can give you a lot of guidance on a weekly with the exercises that are part of the program for the 3 weeks, on a daily basis with those exercises. A, to move through what's being brought up, but also to allow in more of the energies that these essences are creating for us. So that's part of the purpose of doing it. The other thing is us coming together to do the program. There's going to be hundreds of us from all around the world. It's like we create a portal. There's an energy from our intention of working with this and all the spiritual entities coming to work with us as a group that just really allows in a lot of light, this beacon of light that goes out into the universe. And we're, recipients of that as well. So it's the sum of the whole is much greater than the sum of the individual parts. So us coming together as a group, we can even go deeper in working with the Gaia Essence. And of course, there'll be 2 weeks of taking the Gaia Essence, and then there'll be a week of working with Solar Logos. So, it's allowing us to go deeper and to get greater benefit, and a bit of an easier process as well, by us being in a group. And the fact that if you've already made up your mind that you want to be part of the Gaia program, you'll notice that the process has already started. I mean, the program itself is not going to be starting until the 3rd of April, run for the 3 weeks. But you'll find that transformation is already starting to happen to you. Just your intention, yes, I'm ready to go through and be part of this program. So we do have a lot of people who've not done the Isis Solar Logos program on this webinar. Let me give you a little bit of an overview of how it's going to unfold over the 3 weeks. It's going to start on Monday the 3rd. That's Australian time, so it may be a little bit different time zone if you're in Europe or the Americas or Asia. And there will be the introductory webinar. The next day, the next morning when you wake up, you're going to start the first day of the 2 weeks of the Gaia Essence. You'll be taking your 7 drops. You will have, when you've registered for the program, you're going to receive both the Gaia and the Solar Logos Essence. There will be instructions. There will be the stock, the concentrate bottle. There will be instructions on how to take the remedy, prepare it into a dose bottle, and all of the talk about the 7 drops you take in the morning, 7 drops in the evening. And every Monday during the program, there's going to be a webinar, and I'll be talking through the exercises which will be coming up in the next week, some general discussions, there'll be some extra meditations, and also be aware from the feedback from you of any issues that seem to be rising so I can talk about them and discuss them. Now, also part of the program will be access to the forum. The forum is where you'll be able to download your workbook, and it will have meditations. We've also put in something called a toolkit in the forum. So let's say that a lot of deep, strong emotion is coming up for you, then there'll be a couple of extra exercises you can do just to help and process and work through it. And just to give you an example, let me read a couple of testimonials from people who are on the Solar Logos program. Okay. I won't necessarily read their names, I'll just read them here. I've been taking the Solar Logos Essence. I feel as though I'm full of life, love and inspiration. It's hard to describe the benefits of the Essence that it's had on me. So here are a few words: clarity, focus, clear, connected to my true higher self, a letting go of ways of thinking and being, and trusting myself and being present in the moment and expressing how I feel, balanced and creative, which is great. Now, sometimes, as I said, it can really bring up quite a lot of strong emotions. One of the other participants on the, another participant, there was more than 2 on the program, I think we had about 700, she wrote in to say, it has been very intense, but so necessary. I'm deeply grateful for the darkness that was released from the chalice. I feel like I went through some kind of surgery. Don't know if anyone else felt like that. The Solar Logos released stuff in me that would take years in therapy. I feel so free and clean and strong. I'm up where God is healing me, is leading me. Praise God for you and the incredible magic of the beautiful essences that are being brought through. Thank you very much. And I'll talk a little bit later on in this webinar about specific aspects, healing qualities of the Solar Logos. So if you're not so familiar with that, you get a sense of, well, why do we need to allow the energy of the Solar Logos to come in a little bit more fully? And that'll, I think, will help understand it for you. So there's also going to be a journal connected to the program. Now, in the journal, you will be just recording your experiences. It's great to look back, after a meditation or what came up that, when you write it down or after some of the exercises, when it's really clear and fresh, and also at the end of the day, you're just reflecting, well, what did I go through today? How does that relate to all the changes going on around me? And, it's a good way to reflect and just be aware of what's happening to you. But also, come to the end of the program, just reading it through, I think you'll be quite shocked by how much has changed within you as a result of being on the program. Now, if you've already done the ISIS or Solar Logos program, thinking, well, I had some fantastic shifts before. I think I pretty much opened up. I brought a lot of my higher self through, opened up my heart. It's an ongoing journey. That it's right in the moment now of even going deeper. And I think for me, one of the great aspects of the Gaia Essence, it's bringing through more of your higher self. It's like opening up the heart, allowing your true spiritual essence, is what your higher self is, to come through and experience that at a deeper level. And if you're thinking, well, I'm pretty sure my higher self is fully come through, well, might be close, but if you're still here on the planet, it hasn't fully come through. So we can all be working to open up our hearts, radiate out that love, and also bringing in our higher self, which is doing both of those things as well. So that's the aspect of it. And Gaia has got some unique qualities which we're going to be discussing as well. So there's also going to be on the program a support network. Certainly, if you're going through something, you can go onto the forum and you can share there and you can say, look, I'm experiencing this. Does anyone else experience? And you'll be amazed. Everyone will start answering and there'll be a lot of discussions generated that way. People will be putting up their own experiences. If there's a question, again, it's a fantastic pool of people who can give their insights and suggestions. But if you have some technical problems, like I'm having trouble entering the forum or I've forgotten my password or things like that, there will be an email address where you can write in your query and the program support people will answer them for you and help you with technical problems. So that encapsulates pretty much the nuts and bolts, if you like, of the program. Now, what I thought we might do is just take a moment and we're going to have a meditation. We're going to tie in a nice aspect of the Gaia, and then we're going to go through specific qualities of the Gaia. But, when the essence was being made, the Gaia essence, it was done in Glastonbury, again working with my dear friend Sally Pullinger, and also her son Jerome was also there helping to anchor and assist in that. And I was told probably about 6 months before, that when I went to England in the June period, that there would be a very powerful essence which would assist the Soul Logos coming through. And on the morning, this one was created outside, and there were so many big spiritual energies there, but there was also some of the gentlefolk, the elven folk, pixies, leprechauns. I mean, there was also what I'll talk a little bit more about is dragon beings as well. And I was told that there'd be all these spiritual beings, very powerful ones, to create a portal deep into the earth when a very strong energy would come through to create the essence. And I got an incredible shock when that big, powerful energy coming through was, in fact, Mother Earth or Gaia. And if you've listened to my video, I talk a little bit about how the language came through. It wasn't of this earth. Well, maybe it was deep in this earth anyway. It wasn't the language you'd be associated with on the surface of the earth. And also the dragon beings were holding the energy, and they work very much with the elements within the earth. And they're balancing the earth, air, fire, water. And of course, this is a quality that Gaia brings through, because, you might be, as a result of Earth doing a nuclear test, it might be fracking. It's changing elemental balance. So they're rearranging and correcting and balancing. So they were there just to anchor, so Gaia herself could come through and give the message and create this essence. And later on tonight, I'll read a little quote of what she actually had to say on that evening. Okay, so let's get ready to go into meditation. If you want to get yourself into a nice, comfortable position. Okay, so getting yourself into a very comfortable position. Unless you're in a lotus position, uncross your arms and legs, and I'll get you to gently close your eyes, so you won't see the nice meditation image coming up shortly. It'll be on there at the end. And just take a deep breath in through the soles of your feet, up to your crown, and then breathe back out through the soles of your feet. Just do this a couple more times. Good. And I want you to be aware of a beam of white light totally encircling you. It's just around you, no other person. And I want you to take a moment just to reflect if there's anything you're wishing to release and let go of. It could be something on a physical level, maybe an ache or pain, discomfort. Anything on an emotional level, any sadness you're holding on to you want to let go of, some anxiety, some resentment. Anything mentally that you're wanting to let go of. Maybe just feeling a little bit unfocused, sleepy, or on a spiritual level that you want to release. Just taking a moment, what is it I want to release? Great. Now in your mind's eye, I want you to be aware of a zipper going from the crown of your head down the front of your body to your pubic bone. And I want you in your mind's eye to open that zipper now and have a sense of those things the things you're wishing to release being drawn out of you into the white light. It's like a metal going to a magnet. And as it goes into that white light, it's cleansed and purified. Great. And then from the very top of that beam of white light, I want you to be aware of the hands of God dropping millions upon millions of tiny, soft, silver stars down that beam of white light. And they're cascading down And then when they get to you, they're going in through the open zipper, filling your being with those tiny soft silver stars. And in fact, even when they touch your skin, they're being absorbed in. And wave after wave is gently coming down. And it keeps coming down till your whole being now is filled with those tiny soft silver stars. Embodiment of white light. When you're totally filled with the stars, in your mind eye, I want you just to do the zipper back up once more. And now you start to feel incredibly light. And you can feel yourself just going down, entering deep, deep into the earth, into Mother Earth. And it's not all solid. As you go down, you realize there's wonderful realms in there. There's chasms, there's lakes, sky, there's beautiful colours. And just what are you seeing? What are you experiencing deep? The magnificence of the earth that we're living on, that we're part of. Be very conscious of all the elements you can feel there. You can feel the heat of the fire energy, the solidness of the rocks, the minerals, the lightness of the air, the moisture, the lakes, inland lakes, the water there. Feel the spiritual beings, the dragon beings and other spiritual beings deep within the earth, maintaining the balance. Be aware of the presence of Gaia. You can feel her in your cells. She's the Earth Mother. You're deep in the womb now. It's like going back to the Mother. Just allow yourself to have that experience. So what can you see? What can you feel? What's your sense of that realm within the earth? Good. And in that light body, now on the next in-breath, I want you breathing through the soles of your feet. Draw in the energy of Mother Earth. And as you're breathing it in, you're just starting to feel a little bit more dense, a bit more earth and ground. And I want you to just keep breathing in till you feel in the same state that you were just prior to going into that meditation. Being back fully physically. And still with your eyes closed, I want you just to be aware of where you started the meditation. And now breathing in through the crown, I want you to take in the energy of the Solar Logos rays. Just breathing in the Solar Logos energy through your crown. And just as you breathe in, feeling your cells starting to vibrate a little bit quicker. And that your heart center just expanding and tingling, opening. Good. Keep breathing in through the crown, breathing it now through the crown to your heart. And as your heart opens, just be aware of having a sense of your higher self, your full spiritual being. Feel the magnificent power of your higher self. Good. And now, I want you to ask Mother Earth, Gaia, if she has a message for you. What does she want to say to you at this moment? Good. And just thanking Gaia for all the healing she wants to be. She wants to give us healing. And thanking her for the message. And then on the count of 3, I'm going to get you to come fully back present, open your eyes, and have a good stretch. 1, be conscious of where your feet are. 2, conscious of where you're standing or sitting or lying, what's underneath you. 3, open your eyes, have a good stretch, and come fully back present. Welcome back. I hope you had some marvelous experiences down deep within the Mother Earth. Now, once you're back now, let me just mention a couple of little things about the webinar. You can see the webcam, the image of me, and underneath there's a slide. Now, if you look at in that middle section at the bottom of the webcam image, there are 2 parallel lines. Now, if you run your cursor over that, you can change the ratio of the webcam. If you want to see myself larger, you can drag it down. If you want to go back and see the image larger, the slide, you just take that cursor and move it up and the slide will become larger. Now this is only available when you're watching live. If you're listening to the replay link to this, the ratio is already set and the webcam is usually much smaller than the slide image. But if you're listening live, you've got that option of adjusting it. Also, if you look at the control panel, there's a section questions. So as we're proceeding on, if you do have a question, you've got an opportunity to write your question there, and Amika will now support people, and the organisers on this webinar will answer you. And if it's something that she feels wants to pass on to me, then Yvonne, who some of you will remember from the other programs, is going to do a courier mail and drop it in front of me. So there'll be the opportunity of asking questions as we unfold in the night. And I also asked you that, or mentioned that there'll be a journal. Now in our last ISIS program, we had the option that you could have a black and white or a colour one. Some people like colour. Some people said, well, look, I've got to download the link and I've got to print it, and it's using up a lot of my ink. It's I just want a black and white one. And what we're going to like to know for this program is, would you rather, and this is under polls, which I might launch now. Would you prefer a downloadable journal that you would print and then that you would write in, or would you rather go to a bookstore and get maybe a beautiful book that you would like to physically have that you write in? So it's like a hard copy that you might already have a book at home that you think, this is a journal I use, or I've been saving up this really lovely notepad with great paper, and for something special. Maybe you might want to use that. So we'd like to know, do you want something that you download and print, or would you rather use your own? And once we get feedback from you, we'll make a decision of what journal we will use, whether we offer a downloadable one. So, in your own time, you can answer that one. And looking now, we're getting quite a few people are saying, about 70% are saying yes, you would prefer the downloadable, and about 30% are saying no, they'd rather the hard copy. So we'll leave that till the end of the night. You can go anytime you want, and we'll find out what the results are. Okay, so I have been talking a little bit about the qualities of the Gaia essence, and I'd just like to share a few more things with that. And I'm just going to look how I've got this up on my screen, the poll. I'm just going to see how I can remove it so I can see the okay. So what I might get you to do, so I can close the poll, if you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already put your answer in, then we'll close this off and then we can get back to some of the images for the PowerPoint. So I'll just get you to pop down there and another right now, finish it off. Great, thank you for that. Okay, now let's talk about some of the qualities of the Gaia essence. As I said, the central sun, the heart of the divine, is, I can just see the whole PowerPoint, this computer. Okay. Those pulsations are going out into the universe to raise consciousness. And they're the solar rays. The solar deities, the lords of the solar rays, are sending out that solar logos. It's coming down to Gaia. She's been activated and she's raising her consciousness. And her invitation to us is, come along, join. Because we can't take in very much of solar logos directly. It's such a strong energy. When it gets to the Earth's atmosphere, Gaia sends it directly, it's converted into white light and then comes down to us so that we can receive it. We can't take in really very much of solar logos. It's too strong. So by working with the Gaia essence, we're able to take in more of the solar logos energies. So, and that's going to allow opening of our heart center, it's going to raise our consciousness, it's going to help bring in more of our higher self. And to me, that's probably one of the greatest aspects of it. And of course, once you do that, and your higher self is coming through, you get a very grounded sense of what your divine purpose is. Okay? And it's not that Gaia needs it, but it also helps us have a very protective feeling for Mother Earth. And I think the benefit of that is really for us, not so much for Gaia, because she'll just change, she'll balance. We've talked about all the energies balancing and correcting. And, you know, like if it needs to correct pollution, psychic, physical, nuclear, whatever, whether it takes a tsunami, an earthquake, you know, that will be done to balance the energies. And we'll be the ones who suffer. But when we've got that loving, protective feeling going for Gaia, well then, you know, everything's more in harmony. And, you know, it's going to be much better for all the humans on board. Okay? We don't have to suffer extreme weathers and natural disasters as such. And when we're doing the meditation, I had you deep inside the earth. I said to experience the elements. Okay? We're made up of the elements. The earth is made up of the elements, and Gaia is in charge of all that. And so you have a stronger connection to earth, air, fire, and water. And as I said, with all these solar logos energies and the white light flooding down onto earth at the moment, it's more of a gentle, we can absorb more, our lives will flow far more in harmony than someone who's ignorant of it or resisting it and not wanting to open up and change. Then they're going to have a much more difficult time. And the more that we're connected, our hearts are open, we're going to feel a lot safer with all these changes going on and these powerful energies within us and around us. We're able to ground them and then take in even more. Yeah, so it's like we're being earth, we're drawing in the energy of the earth, we're opening up our heart, taking these higher energies, radiating out our love. You know, I'm just so much in awe when these essences are coming through. I'm hearing what they do. I'm got so much gratitude for being a part of helping to bring these essences down. It's very much my stewardship to, you know, create the essences, make them in an available form when they can be utilized. And, you know, like I just, you know, I have tears when these essences are coming down. Just what amazing gifts we're being given, and that, you know, personally, that I got this wonderful opportunity to experience firsthand when they're being created. You know, it's quite amazing. And, you know, when I hear the case histories and the testimonials from when people have been on the ISIS and Solar Logos programs, you know, it's just like, you know, these are life-changing remedies. These are just so powerful. And, you know, I tend to think of Earth at the moment as being like in the Dark Ages on a spiritual level, that people look back in 100, 150 years and they will think of it almost like spiritually dark ages. There'll be such a shift. We're very much in the forefront for making these changes at the moment. And, you know, Spirit is just sending down all this energy and saying, raise your consciousness, come along, we're all moving. And, you know, it's you know, a fantastic time. It's a tremendous amount of change going on. And, you know, we're being invited to draw in all these energies. We're being given such opportunities for them, such, you know, to take in the energy of God, take in more, the Solar Logos coming through. I'm not even going to mention ISIS. That's just a, you know, a lovely thing if you've never even explored again. That they can all work so well together. So, you know, it's that union one. We said it's a union between heaven and the earth. We're that interface between both. It's the union of our higher self, and I suppose you'd call it the lower self. It's a balancing of polarity. So even within us, it's helping to harmonize our divine masculine and our divine feminine, which, you know, affects not only us, but also the people around us, especially those in intimate relationships with us. So there's many unique benefits that the Gaia essence has. And for those who've taken Soul Logos, to me, it's a softer energy. Soul Logos energy is just like full force coming down. And you know, for those not so familiar with it, even look at the label. We were trying to capture that, you know, those golden rays, the Soul Logos coming down to Earth, and you know, some of the qualities of the Soul Logos energy. I tend to give the analogy that it's almost like you have a chalice, and in the chalice there are old beliefs, energies, you know, they represent sediment, a bit of heavier stuck energy. In that beautiful chalice we've got liquid. And then you have the rays of the Soul Logos charging through and entering into that chalice. And it's just like reactivating all the liquid in there and allowing that debris, the dross, all those old antiquated beliefs, energies to just rise and go over the edge. So you're left with like new energized liquid in there, purer liquid. So it is that burning off of the dross. And as I said, it can be a very powerful one. There are lots of different reactions people have along the way of working with it. And I said the beauty of having a program is there's exercises if people are experiencing things like deep tiredness. And that happened for quite a few people at different times, you know, like just feeling exhausted. And often it's like that energy is starting to be moved, it hasn't been totally shifted out. So, you know, we have exercises in there like movement and toning and other things to really help shift and move that energy. So it's, you know, so reactivating all the cells within us, it's making them more open to the light. It's like light and love coming into our bodies, into our hearts, into our minds. And, you know, Soul Logos, it's that Christ conscious energy coming from the very central sun down to our earth. And it's not just the earth which is raising her consciousness. You find it's going through the whole solar system, the whole Milky Way galaxy. There's that raise in consciousness. It's, you know, it's powerful energy is being pulsated out. You know. But again, it's really part for us is to open up our hearts. So they're just, you know, some of the aspects of the Soul Logos. So we'll be doing 2 weeks of Gaia. We'll be really grounded and then be able to be taking in more Soul Logos energy, and then we're having that week on Soul Logos energy just to capitalize on that, to really, well, take it even deeper. As I said, the Gaia essence, it's a booster for Soul Logos as well as all its other unique qualities. So if you've worked with Soul Logos, you're able to even go much deeper, and, you know, together as a group, I think we'll have a very powerful week. Okay, now I'm just going to take a moment to answer a couple of questions. So someone asked, if I've not worked with the ICE or Soul Logos, can we take Gaia? Absolutely. In fact, you know, I think Gaia is a great one as a starting point. You know, so of the three, probably for me the sequence would be Gaia, Soul Logos, followed by Isis. Someone's asked, do we need to take Isis, the Soul Logos, then Gaia in order? A similar type question. Look, if you had Isis, you could certainly take it before the Gaia, you know, and my recommendation is if you're working hand in hand with Gaia and Soul Logos, start with Gaia and then go on to your Solar Logos. Can this be given to children? If so, what dose? Good question from Carmel. The dose is always the same. It's the 7 drops. 7 drops on rising, 7 drops on retiring. And many of you who've done workshops with me know that, you know, what I have to say about the children born of this millennium. You know, they're very wise old beings with, you know, the seers, the mystics, they're coming back. It's so, yeah, absolutely. Listen to your gut feeling. You know, a lot of children already have been working with Isis and Soul Logos essence, and certainly Gaia is a beautiful one for them. You know, they're very connected to the earth and to nature. So this is just, you know, be bliss for them. Okay, someone's asked me, can I share more about where the essence was made and what the experience was like? And I'm getting goosebumps as I think back to how it was created. So some of you saw the flyer that went with the email about the introduction to the program. In the flyer there's a photo of Sally Pullinger and her son Jerome. I've known Sally for about, well over, you know, about 12 years or so, and she's a trance medium, and she's very gifted and wonderful. And I did a lot of work with a man called Glyn Brady over 30 years ago, and Glyn introduced me to Old Chinese, or Chung Fu, who was a spirit being who came through another trance medium, Marshall Lever. And Glyn was very involved with Denise Lynn, Stuart Wilde, were all part of that group who were working very closely with Old Chinese, also known as Chung Fu. And I'd heard recordings of Old Chinese talking about parables, and I was teaching in Glastonbury 13 years or so ago, and I mentioned Old Chinese. We talk about Old Chinese in the Level 1 Bush Essence workshop when we talk about the elements of man. And someone said, oh, there's a woman not far from here who's bringing through Old Chinese. Would you like to meet her? And, you know, like I was so excited after having this contact for so many years. I went and met Sally. She went into trance. Old Chinese came through. It was the same voice, and it's my spiritual juice. And it was the message coming through Old Chinese that 6 months earlier that there'd be a new essence when I got to England. For me, my spiritual highlight of the year is some of my one-on-one sessions with Old Chinese. And so it was, you know, organized that the next morning the essence would be created. Now, Isis and Soul Logos were created inside the space where Sally goes into trance, but because it was Gaia, we did it outside. We had a lot of you know, crystals. We had all the bowls with the water to make the essence. You know, I could feel all the elemental beings, all the nature spirits. There were very big energies. I didn't know what they were. They were described to me as the dragon beings. There was Isis, Melchizedek were also present. There was, you know, went on for, you know, ever, all the spiritual beings who were gathered there, Davic realm, ascended masters, etc. But then this incredible being, I had goosebumps, I was shaking as Gaia came through, spoke and blessed and created the essence. So she came up through that portal and then blessed and created the essence from all the bowls of water we had there. Later, when we went back inside, Sally then went into trance again. Old Chinese came through and translated what was spoken by Gaia. In fact, maybe I'll just read out a couple of things. Some of you might have heard this in the, or read this in the flyer, but I think to me, when you hear the words which are used, you get the energy of what it was all about. So, it's a bit small print, I'll put some glasses on. This was, what Gaia had to say was, I'm calling to my people to come forward and to remember. Remember the essence of our union, that you were made from me, and from light we create matter together. I am the great healer. I am the body of which your body is made. I am the essence of your essence that brings all you need to nurture, to protect, to grow, to connect. The great light, which is the soul logos energy, pours into me. Through my atmosphere you can receive the light into your body. I am the mother of all physical life. In me all elements dance, fire, water, air and earth. Into me light is absorbed and brought back to you. I am the great transformer. Draw my power through your feet. Hear my voice. I am calling you to remember we are one being. I am rising up. We are changing. Stay close to me that I may hold you as we ride high and absorb the pure light from the heart of the divine. I will take your fear. I'll take your wounds. Drink my essence. And that's the Gaia essence. I am the great healer. We are one. Your body and mine. Feel my healing. I am the mother of your life. Here I am Mother Earth. In my earth are all the elements. I bless all the elements in all my earth and in all your body. So, once the water was created, the essence was created by Gaia, it was then like making a mother tincture. Some of you have done the level 3 workshop where together as a group we make a bush essence mother tincture. So then it was broken down with the brandy, which is in mother tincture. I transported all the mother tinctures back to Australia, where we then went through the process of creating the stock bottle. And if you were to purchase the Gaia program, you would get the Gaia essence in the bottle, but the bottle comes in a pyramid pack. Now that's a stock. So that's the concentrate, and from that, you will make your dose bottle, you'll dilute the stock down. So just to show you that image again of, yeah, lovely, there we have the pyramid pack. Okay, if that answers your question, thank you for it. And someone had asked, can I use the spray, mists or creams? And obviously meaning when they're doing the Gaia program. Yes, you can. Look, I wouldn't be, say, working with the Abund essence or taking Cognos essence for a 2-week period while you're on Gaia. You'd just be working with the Gaia essence. So I wouldn't be adding to your Gaia essence. I wouldn't be putting a little bit of Isis in there or putting a little bit of Waratah bush essence into your Gaia bottle. It's only the Gaia essence itself in the bottle that you're taking. Now, having said that, let's say you're at work and you've got a deadline, you're feeling really overwhelmed, and you're just not thinking clearly. You could take a one-off dose of Cognos just to help. Okay, a one-off dose is fine. Let's say you had a fall and you got a bit of a bruise and you're feeling a bit shaken up after having a fall. By all means, take a dose of emergency just to settle yourself. But you wouldn't be taking, say, emergency essence for the full 2-week period that you're on the Gaia essence. Now, you can be working with some sprays or the cream. So, if you love putting Calm and Clear on before you go to sleep at night, the Calm and Clear cream, by all means do that. Or if you've got children that you've got on taking the Gaia essence, but they often have trouble settling down at night, so before they go into bed, you spray the room with the Calm and Clear mist, then that's fine to keep working with that. Okay? Yep. So by all means, you can continue that. Just more the oral drops that I wouldn't recommend taking while you're on the program. Okay, that's great. And okay, the question was, can Gaia Essence be given to children with autism? Look, I think that would be no reason why they couldn't. It could, again, just bringing in the higher self, helping to really ground, take in the energy of the earth, breathing that in, helping to ground and anchor them, I think would only be of benefit. And having, mentioning autism, some of you may be aware of Elizabeth Curran. She's based in Melbourne, and last year Elizabeth ran a new workshop, a one-day workshop that she created, Autism and ABFE. It was very much designed for the carers as well as for anyone with the autism. And Elizabeth, I've known for maybe 20 years. She's come to all my workshops. She loves the essences, and she's incorporated them so wonderfully well with her family. She has 3 boys, and the 2 younger boys both have autism. And she was a single mum. A single mum having one autistic child is usually pretty typically ends in burnout. Her having 2, she used the essences with the boys and her other son and herself, and she's just been this beacon of light, going out there, helping people, giving tips to other carers what to do. So, I said to Elizabeth, you've got to put it all together. Well, let's make it a workshop. And she will be running that one in Melbourne this year. You can go to our Bush Essence website and look for dates. And if you're in Melbourne, you'll be sent that information. I'm hoping to have her do that workshop in Sydney later this year as well. And, there's lots of great essences that can help with children with autism as well. And in my book, Happy Healthy Kids, there's, quite a large section where I talk about autism. Okay. I've got a couple more questions. Could you summarise the differences between Isis, Sol, Logos and Gaia? Look, I could probably do it if we had a couple more hours for the webinar. Let me say, Mother Earth, we're part of that. Isis is the divine mother, the spiritual mother. She's really coming here to take our wounding and pain, to give us love and courage. It's a very gentle, nurturing, soft remedy. In fact, sometimes we give it after people have taken Gaia. A lot of things have come up just to sort of settle things down. We've all had many lives where we've made sacrifice. We've chosen to have lifetimes. We've gone into areas where we've experienced tremendous suffering, and suffering's been happening around us. To have that experience, that in later lives, and especially this one, we can be of great help to people who are going through challenging, difficult times. The downside is that sometimes we hold on to some of that suffering, some of that pain that we experienced in those past lives. And that's where Isis is taking that pain and suffering away. Also, from when you start to incarnate from spirit back here onto the 3rd dimension and earth, in that process of incarnating down, there's different things which can happen which can lead to wounding. So Isis is very much about wounding. It's wounding that might have happened this lifetime. Maybe you went through and, your parents separated, there was a lot of suffering. Maybe you, one of your parents died. Maybe you were physically, emotionally, sexually abused, as a child. So, it can be wounding from this life. It can be wounding from a past life. It can be wounding in that process of coming down from the spirit realm to incarnate into earth in this lifetime. So Isis is taking away a lot of wounding. There's more qualities than that, but that would be a nutshell. Solar Logos, if you think of that image of the golden rays coming down into that cup, releasing, burning off the dross, letting go of, old beliefs, etc., allowing more light to come in. Gaia is grounding us, anchoring us, so we can take in even more Solar Logos, if you like. So we can bring in more of that higher self than if you were just taking Solar Logos by itself. And of course, all the other things I've mentioned about the Gaia essence tonight. So, I hope that gives you just a quick summary of it as well. Will there be a pendant coming out that will encapsulate both of these essences that maintain their individually as above, so below? Stay tuned. It's best not to say things before things are manifest. Yep. My dog Rosie is getting very excited. Maybe she's got some inside information about a pendant. Yeah. Okay, I think there's a couple more questions, and I'm going to move on and say some more things about the program. There's been questions about swapping the Solar Logos for something else as they already have it. Look, the cost of the program is $250 if you get the early bird price. It goes up to, and that's up until the 26th of February. It goes up to $295 after the 26th of February. Now, irrespective of what price you pay, you would be getting the Gaia Essence. The Solar Logos is an extra bonus that we've put in there. So I know some of you have already got a Solar Logos. You might want to gift it to someone you think would love to have it. Okay? And, I'm sure it's an essence that you'll be making up dose bottles that you can give to other people as well. So, no, you won't swap it. You'll get that. But I'm sure there's someone in your life that you think would probably greatly appreciate it. What can we expect after the program? Well, there's that wonderful expression, life will never be the same again. Okay? So, after I did the ISIS program, and, I'm going to be doing the program with you. I've already been working on the Gaia Essence as well. People came up to me and said, oh, I can feel this ISIS energy around you. It's like so strong. Those qualities that I said, it really depends on you, but, I think just opening up the heart more, being more grounded, being more centered, being, like I think you feel it in your meditations, just that sense of where you're going, being able to flow more easily in your life, having a sense of what you want to achieve, and just pulling obstacles out of the way and being able to create that more readily. There'd be some of the things that I think you'd be able to be doing. By letting in more of the Solar Logos, again, it's like clearing a lot of old karmic patterns. It's basically that dross, whether it could be emotional, spiritual things that are being cleared off. My advice would be to just look at what you're journaling from before until the end of the program. So, that testimonial I read out, the person talked about so many changes, greater clarity, focus, more love. Sometimes it's just a completion that there's some old deep sadness that just doesn't seem to shift, that gets shifted when people have been on the program. For other people, it's like, like I've got such a sense of what I need to be doing. I've just really changed focus of, I was going down this path and like, wow, it just opened up in front of me what I feel I need to be doing right now. And one of the things with Gaia, it's getting that sense of divine purpose. So many people I hear say, what am I here for? I don't really know where I'm going. So I'd expecting with greater clarity and focus and certainty of where you're going in life. And if you get to walk on water afterwards, that can be cream on the top, added bonus. Okay, well, I'm getting quite a few. 2 more questions, we might just move on. And thank you for all the questions. It's great to see what you're wanting to know more of. Someone's mentioned, I'm thinking of doing the white light workshop. Should I do the Gaia instead? I can only do one. There's always pawpaw when we've got a major decision made between 2 items. What should I do? Look, let me just say something. My feeling would be, and depending when you're going to do it, probably do the Gaia. However, you can do part payments. You can pay half, and a month later you can pay the other half. If you want to do that, you can call the office. That might make it a little bit easier for you, Helen. Now, I'm doing the White Light Essence workshop. It's a weekend workshop in Sydney on the 4th and 5th of March. I'm going to be going to Brisbane, I think the following weekend, the 12th and 13th, to do the white light in Brisbane. And then in the beginning of April, I'll be doing it in Melbourne. I think I'm doing it on the 1st and 2nd. So, you know, you could do 1st and 2nd, that'd be pretty powerful. Then going off and doing the Gaia program if you're based in Melbourne, or you want to fly to Melbourne and do it that way. You know, that could be a pretty powerful thing to do. And someone had asked me to mention, and I wasn't sure whether I should, but I think this is a prompt. In the second half of the year, I think we're likely to be doing a white light program. Very different to the workshop, but it's going to be a longer one. So if you definitely can't do anything, do Gaia. There might be the option of doing something with white light as a program. Now, as I said, it's different from the workshop, totally different. A lot of people who've done the workshop will be doing the program. Okay. Please don't ring the office because they, and say, when's the white light program starting? Okay, you'll get plenty of notice for it. Okay. Yes, the payment plan is you can pay half, and then you can pay a month later the other half. And again, you will just need to ring Australian Bushflower Essences and talk to the orders. I'll put you through and arrange that. Okay. Let me gather myself here for a little moment. Look, there's the information. Now, because there are 2 essences being sent, we've got to allow enough time for postage, and it takes longer for people living overseas. So we're allowing 5 weeks from if you order before the 26th of February, that's 5 weeks for you to get your Gaia and your Sol Logos essence. And I think for the Sol Logos program, we gave 1 month, and a couple of people had theirs held up in customs, so it wasn't there. So we've allowed 5 weeks. So if you're wanting to do it and you're living outside of Australia, the cut-off time for your registration is the 26th of February. Now, you could register after that date, but you would have to make sure you're going to get your essence in time, you would have to pay express postage, which is more, and it takes about 2 weeks. So you can do it afterwards, but then you're paying a lot more for postage. For Australian people, if you're wanting to do the program, then the cut-off time for registration is the 13th of March. Okay. And I think that's my dog Rosie there, encouraging you if you're in Australia to do that. And I think there might be a possum out there that you can see. Now, the early bird price is $250, which ends also on the 26th of February. After that, the price goes to $295. And we do have a Gaia website. We go to put that, yeah, fantastic. So obviously, if you want to register, that is the link, or you can copy it down to register for the program. And if you want to get some more information about the Gaia program, you can visit the Gaia Essence website. Now, if you want to, when you're on the Gaia website, if you want to register, you'll be taken back to the Bush Essence workshop, and your payment will go through that one. Okay? And look, I'd also encourage you, if you feel drawn to do it, have a chat to some of your friends, colleagues, family members. Get some other people to do it with you that you're really close to. Okay? So, you know, if you've got an intimate partner, you may encourage them to register and do it with you. Okay? If you're in a clinic, for example, or meditation group, get all your colleagues to come and register and do that as an extra group. It's great to have that to share as well. So I think for tonight, it's pretty much all I want to say. I'd like to, again, just to thank you very much for being present. It's going to be a pretty amazing event. I think each program goes at a deeper level. So I'm looking forward to having you, if you feel drawn, inspired to want to be part of the program. And I said it'll start on Monday, the 3rd of April, and will run and finish on the 24th of April. So, yeah, thanks for coming and listening tonight, or listening to the replay. And I wish you much love and light. Thank you very much.